Hello and welcome to the Constance Messmer podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, this story is a total bonus. This story is a total bonus, and you are gonna not believe this because it's so fabulous. So, I want you to know that while doing work as a medium, I have had beautiful experiences to hear about what our loved ones are doing on the other side, right? So, here is a story I want to share with you. So, I was with some friends, and I think we were reading each other's tarot cards. I'm just going to use first names, Kurt and Robin. And no, it was Kirk and Robin. So Kirk was reading my tarot cards, and it was with this really cool deck. And I was like, wow, that's a cool deck. And then I decided to read his cards. And of course, when I read people's cards, I don't just read the cards. I open up to spirit and use the cards as a tool of divination, as a tool to, just kind of here's the basic information coming through on the read, but let me go and see if spirit also has more to say or if there's greater cosmic answers or awareness to what you're going through. And in the moment that I was reading Kirk's cards, I saw in the periphery, in the ethers off to his side, this kid standing there in spirit realm in swim trunks, dripping wet. And I said, this kid says he's with you because he was standing next to Kirk. I said, does he make sense to you? Do you know this kid? And I described him, and Kirk's like, no. And Robin was like, no, I don't know him either. And I was like, no, I'm pretty listen, when spirit shows up, I know that they're not wrong. It's usually I'm not getting it right or the sitter can't recall or whatever. So I was to the kid because he wanted to talk to them. And he's like, "No, I know them, I know them." And I was like, "No, they're telling me they don't know you. I'm so sorry." And he's like, "No, no, no, I know them." And I was finally like, "Okay, who did you come with?" Like, to the kid that was standing there. He was like 14, dripping wet, swimming suit, standing in their living room. "Who did you come with?" And he points up and over me to the point that I have to turn around. And I turn around and I look literally, I turn around in the living room and there is this chair in the corner. Now, in the physical, the chair is empty, but I look spiritually and there's a man there who's kind of big, dark haired, and he says he's Kirk's father. And I said, oh, there's this guy here. And I describe him and I said, he says he's your father. And he was like, oh my God, that is my dad. That's totally my dad. And I said, listen, so as a medium, you could go back to the dad and talk to him more, or you could turn to the people, or you can turn to the dripping wet kid. And I said to the dad, but why is this kid with you? To the dad, why is the dripping my kid with you? And he said, because on the other side, he's part of my work. What I do is I am trauma response. When young kids go cliff diving and they pass in an accident, I help them transverse to the other side and deal with all the grief kind of that they go through in the trauma response. And the kid, broke his neck cliff diving. And Kirk freaked out. He said, oh my God, because I'm relaying this out loud to him and Robin. And he was like, oh my God, of course, because my dad was huge. Whenever we would go cliff diving, his big thing was make sure the water's deep enough, make sure the water's deep enough. So it made sense to them that, of course, this whole scenario was accurate and made sense. Hey, are you enjoying the content but want to take the conversations further into your life? Well, I have quite the expanding community that's happening, and I'd hate you to miss out on any conversations. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and join us there. You can also find us on the YouTube community posts and in many of the threads beneath the videos themselves. And if you want to go into a little more detail, you can join as a member or even buy merchandise to join in as part of the community. Or you can reach out and sign up for my newsletter through my website, constancemessmer.com. My newsletter comes out once a month, and it has more information and helpful hints on how you can take this work further into your life. Meanwhile, I hope to meet you in all those community spaces. I look forward to it. There were more messages from the father, and I don't remember how long the young man, the kid, stayed around, but it was a beautiful opportunity to teach us all about jobs on the other side. They have roles. Like, it doesn't, you just don't walk off into the abyss. And so, do you want to hear my silly question? My silly question to you would be, if you had a job on the other side when your time is done here, what do you think you'd want to do? What do you think you'd want to do? People sometimes become guardians, or they, try to influence better behavior or good change or whatnot. I don't know. I'm just curious what you'd do. That's all. But I just loved it. And this dad, he loved what he did. That was his favorite age group to have and work with, were those kind of teenage kids and kids that were taking risks, or kids that wanted to have fun and the thrill of that. So I loved that. I only imagined him filling out his resume and filling out his job application for that task on the other side, I think it's fabulous. Love what you do, even on the other side. I couldn't help myself. I just didn't want that story buried in any episode. I wanted it to have its own space. So I'm so grateful that you've taken the time and listened, and I hope it's got you pondering or thinking. And it's fabulous. I think I love my life. God, I love what I do. I love what I do. You, I hope, love what you do. And if not, at least parts of what you do or segments of what you do. And everybody's work and life is important. So may we all be happy. May we all love what we do. Hey, Constance Messmer here. I just want to do a shout out of big thanks to all the members. I am so grateful. And all the people dropping in and giving little donations here and there and super thanks and all that stuff. I really appreciate you. You members and you people contributing and subscribers are what helped me bring this content to everyone, really. They both contribute to the cost of production, and I am definitely grateful for that. This stuff is not cheap to put out. Oh my God. Oh my God. So every little bit helps, and I am filled with gratitude that you're stepping up. I am not necessarily a joiner, not usually, but there are environmental issues in other organizations that I do belong to and I contribute to because I like to see them persevere. And I'm hoping you feel the same about this work. I hope you put it into practice in your life. That's another way that you could spread this work and help change our world, which is what I think it ultimately does. As you know, I think if everyone tuned into their soul senses, the world would be a much better place. So when you subscribe, it's a big yes vote for the content, and it helps spread the work across the planet. So when you put the lessons into practice and subscribe and like and share, you help me help you carry the lesson beyond you and me. And I am just really grateful. Legally speaking, this podcast is presented solely for educational, spiritual, and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for medical diagnosis, treatment, or the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat a health problem or condition. Always check with your doctor. Thank you.